out something new. Just trying out something new here. Hope all is well. Hey, thank you so much for tuning in. Just checking out something here for everybody hopping on. Hey, Jamar, hey. Told you I was going live. Got on a little late, but I'm live. It is all well. Good afternoon, good evening. It is 5 o'clock somewhere. So what does that mean? We're going to start this off with a shot of NutriBurst. We're going to start it off with a shot of NutriBurst. So hopefully I can see the comments. I'm using a new application. Hello. Thank you all. Don't play with me, Jamar. Don't play. Do not play with me. So for those who do not know who I am, my name is Tamika Smith, and I encourage, I empower people to unapologetically allow their light to shine in the world while being a dreamer and becoming a doer. So I am a certified life coach. My name is Tamika Smith. I have written a few books, and I am on here today to let you guys know, do not despise the days of small beginnings. Do not despise the days of small beginnings. So I just wanted to come on here today to give you guys a word of encouragement. Hopefully you all can see and hear me just fine. Share, swipe, and invite with someone, because I do want to come on here to give this word of encouragement, to give you guys a charge. And for those who have been bearing with me, I know I said 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, but it's 5 o'clock somewhere. So again, I'm so excited that NutriBurst Plus is back. I've been holding on to this little sip. This is the second one for today. This is the second one. So you might be asking, what is this? Before I get into my message, let's talk about this. This NutriBurst Plus. This is similar to the NutriBurst. Do my little hand, my marketing hand. Looking all crazy. But anyway, this is just basically, it's a liquid vitamin, multivitamin. Instead of you swallowing a pill, some people don't like to swallow pills, and you taking so many different vitamins, you get all of that in a liquid form. I personally enjoy the NutriBurst Plus, and I'm excited that mine is coming in this week because it's been sold out, because it's been on demand, and it has the coenzymes. It has a little bit extra oomph in it, and I enjoy that, especially as an essential worker. And thankfully I'm working from home now, but I enjoy that much more, and it reminds me of a green smoothie. So I'm just going to do another shot because I had to have a woosah moment. With having kids, y'all can relate to it, having kids and just got a lot of stuff going on, and your hands may be in different buckets, if you will, just doing a whole lot of things. Hello everybody that's joining. But let's just take this shot. Anybody that wants any of this NutriBurst, because I didn't put on makeup on purpose, because I want you guys to see how clear. You probably can't see it as good on Instagram, but my skin has improved so much. I have lost weight. I've lost about 10 pounds, 10, 11 pounds so far. And it's simply by detoxing, making wiser decisions, and drinking more water. So the NutriBurst Plus, we'll take a shot of that. It reminds me so much of like a green smoothie, and that's one of my personal favorites. It's one of my personal favorites. And so I'm just going to see if I see any notes. And thank you all for sharing, swiping, and inviting. But I want to come on here really today to talk about never despise the days of small beginnings. Especially as we have this Salah moment, as the world is on pause. And a lot of people have been rushing to get back to something, rushing to get back to work, which I totally understand. Rushing in this microwave society that we have, rushing to do something, but not really thinking things out. That could be you rushing towards, it could be a lot of things. It could be you rushing towards having a marriage, rushing towards getting to the next best thing, rushing towards, being an author. You know what your it is. You've seen people rushing towards a thing. In actuality, they could be crashing and burning. I know you guys seen it. I've seen it myself. People rushing towards a thing, but not allowing themselves to be processed throughout it all. It doesn't take, a whole lot, but it does take something to create something. What do I mean by that? This book, Shattering the Glass House, the foundation of that became from me going through a situation 10 years ago. I don't talk about domestic violence as much because I have moved on with my life. That doesn't mean that, it's not still going on. But you know what? It was the foundation for me to do and level up to other things. And so as you level up, you can't forget where you came from, but you take that into retrospect as you level up, because someone may need whatever it is that you have to offer. So I don't want you guys to get caught up in where you are now, because regardless of where you are now, it's a step towards something greater. I can't imagine, somebody telling me all the things and the blessings that has happened in my life. I never would have thought of it 10 years ago, because I was stuck in a place where I did not have the hope. I did not have the courage to be where I'm at. So I just wanted to give you guys a word of encouragement to don't despise these days of small beginnings. Your small beginnings may be a big deal to someone else. So take that into retrospect, not wanting things. I like things cooked. We got these air fryers now, and I like my things cooked, not in a microwave. And you have to look at, your goals, the things that you aspire to have, and not want to rush through those things, because you may slip up, you might miss something because you're not really paying attention to what God has been trying to show you, because you're trying to rush into a thing. Just like with dating, prime example of that. When you're dating somebody, that's when you're learning people. That's when you're learning like what ticks them off. There might be some things that you may love about them. It may be some things that may not love about you. But in the dating process, because it is a process, if you allow it to be a process, but in that you learn to figure out if you want to deal with that person in the long run, or if you just want to back up, like, it's been real. We ain't married, we ain't tied to no kids, nothing like that. Let's move on with your life. So I got a few points. I always have notes because I'm Miss Wordsmith, soon to be Mrs. Wordsmith. Let's prophesy that thing. All right. So never despise the days of small beginnings. This is like a series of things that has come to my own revelation this morning and throughout a few days. But number one, thank you so much. Number one, your faith, no matter how much you level up, your faith must solidly be in a good foundation. You have to have a good foundation, just like any house. Any house is going to sit on a good foundation. If you know anything about building houses, anything about real estate, you know that foundation means everything. So, in Matthew 7:24-27, it says, anyone who listens to my teaching and follows it is wise, like a person who builds a house on a solid rock. Through the rain comes in torrents and flood waters rise, and the winds beat against that house. It won't collapse because it is built on bedrock. But anyone who hears my teaching and doesn't obey it is foolish, like a person who builds a house on sand. How can you build a house on sand? How? It doesn't work good. It has to be solid. Even the beaches, the houses that's on the beach, they have to have a solid foundation. When the rains and floods come in, and the winds beat against that house, it will collapse with a mighty crash. That's the NLT version. So, number one, it has to be solid. Your house has to be solid. My faith kept me through the storm and the rain. It kept me through the storms and the rain, because even though it was looking, bleak, certain situations, near death situations, what kept me solid was faith. When I didn't think I could write one book that turned and multiplied into 3, it was faith. It wasn't the perfect conditions, but I was laser focused on the end thing. I had to put myself out of the equation and think about who needs this book, who needs this story, who needs to hear about, my overcoming of domestic violence. Yeah, people may not want to hear your sob story, but it could be your own perspective. Like I was telling y'all the last time I was on live, that could be jacking you up in the end. Think about that person that may be going through domestic violence right now. Your story may not be my story, but you have an it. You had something that you had to overcome. And so that's the motivation for us, for me, to get on live, to inspire, to encourage. People got to encourage me, because just like I say all the time, coaches need coaches, encouragers need encouraging. And so that's what it takes, because we're not doing this by ourselves. You may be feeling like you're doing it by yourself, but somebody's going to come along and help you throughout the end. And even if it's in a season, they're still going to help you, and just be cognizant of the people that's trying to help you, because it can mean a world of difference, whether you realize it or not. That brings me to number 2. Your current problem, and I spoke a little bit on this, your current problem is someone's future solution. We are created to be problem solvers, just like Coach Marquita D. Collins tells us all the time, and tell me, in conversation, that we are problem solvers. I am a problem solver. You looking at your problem, but you have a creation. Yes, our God is a big God. You got that right. And he sees the big picture. He knows the end. He knows the end. Even though we trying to figure out putting pieces of the puzzle together, we're driving ourselves crazy. I tell y'all all the time about this thinking, but you have to realize that God has something greater on the other side of this. So whatever your this is, just think about it. Think about it. Don't overthink it, but think about what's the lesson, instead of playing victim. Oh God, why am I going through this? Why this? Why that? Change the wording. God, what do you want me to learn behind this? What's the lesson behind it? Because if you don't learn the lesson, I think was it Jonathan McReynolds, Cycles, that song Cycles. If you don't learn the lesson, it's going to keep repeating. If you don't choose to learn the lesson, if you're just looking at it like a situation, like, oh God, why do I keep going through this? Your current problem is someone's future solution. So your battles are victories. And it's for you, like I've been telling y'all, to carry a torch for somebody else. The story of domestic violence, the story of, dealing with depression, the story of, mismanaging money. Before I got into this house, I praise God for it. But the foundation, the consistent foundation throughout all of that was faith. So that's what we're talking about, having the solid foundation. And for me, that's faith. And so, just like it says in the word, Revelation 12:11, we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. A lot of y'all just hear that. But the remaining part of that scripture is it says, because we don't love our life not unto death. And in that scripture of Revelation, there was a spiritual battle going on. And so you might be looking at a person, oh, I can't stand him, da, 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 da. You're dealing with a spiritual battle with that person. Have you ever considered that that the spirit that's in that person, or you might be the person that might be jacked up, because a lot of us don't like to think that we could be jacked up like we just angels. Some of us can be wrong too, and it's okay as long as you're being accountable to make those changes that you need to change so you can be a better person at the end of the day. But there was a spiritual battle going on, just like it says somewhere in Ephesians, I think it's 6:11, and it tells us that we're not fighting against flesh and blood, but principalities. You're fighting against. This is a spiritual battle. So what are you going to do to make yourself better in the end? So let's go to number 3, creating a solid foundation. It requires you to acknowledge the undeveloped and rocky places that needs to be ironed out. And just like Minister Felix Anderson says, iron sharpens iron, but you cannot be sharp being around butter knife people. You just can't. You just can't. You can love them, but how can you be sharp around butter knife people? How can you be sharp if there's no reciprocal thing going on? Just like I was talking about the other day. In any friendship, business relationship, romantic relationship, even with children, as they grow older, they have to have responsibility. You want this, you got to do this. It got to be give and take. Because if you're constantly giving, and folks keep taking, is that a good relationship to be in? That's something that you have to consider, especially while we have this pause moment that's going on in the world right now. This is plenty of time for you to be revealed, and a lot of things and people, places, and things around you to be revealed. Take an assessment and do what you need to do. So, number 4, just repeating almost what I was saying before, when you are faced with challenges, you have the faith to know where you stand. When you have a solid foundation with your faith, when you know that you're solid, can't nobody shake you. Can't nobody tell you about you, not unless you're giving them too much access to you. Because just like, in an abusive relationship, people can talk down at you, can tell you ain't worth it. And that's where a lot of people's self-esteem get jacked up. That's how a lot of the verbal abuse happens, because you don't believe it. You allow people to have access to you when there shouldn't have been no access granted. Allow yourself. That's why affirmations are so important. That's why you have to build your faith up, build those affirmations, speak life, and speak it more abundantly. That's how you have that solid foundation. I can't listen to somebody telling me what God did not say. No, you can't be intimidated by these titles. You can't be intimidated by these Goliaths that's making themselves grand, and allow people to come at you with this crazy talk. It got to be like Teflon. It got to roll off of you. You can't let people project negativity onto you. You can't come into agreement. And you speaking up is not you having an attitude. As women being vocal, people like to say, oh, she's emotional, it's her time of the month, whatever craziness. No, I'm going to speak up for myself because I can, and you're not going to talk to me any kind of way. It's as simple as that. What are you allowing to come into your circle? What are you allowing to come into your environments? Because environments matter. Are you paying attention to the environments that you chose to be in? Are you paying attention to that? Because it is important. And number 5, when it's time for you to level up, because a lot of y'all will level up, don't forget the foundation. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves. Let's be too grand at things, because when we get too ahead of ourselves, that's when pride comes. That's when arrogance comes, and you're not staying front and center of what brought you there. Keep that faith up. Know that God is God, and let it be that. But never despise the days of small beginnings, because once you do that, You're going to lose sight. You're going to lose your focus. You're going to be easily distracted by certain persons, places, and things, because people come with assignments. And I like to say all the time, who sent you? Because everybody don't have good intentions. And, you know, if you're going to allow people to knock you off course, get up, take an assessment and get up, and know that God has something greater for you. Know that, you know, what you consider as a small beginning may be a big deal to what's next. You are the greatest next. You are the next best thing, but you have to believe it. You have to speak it out of your mouth. You have to know that no matter what is going on, no matter what kind of situation that you may be in right now, that something is greater coming out of it. And you have to be strategic. You have to think it out. You have to write it out. You have to plan it out. Because if you're just going to look at a situation as the situation is going to continue to be a situation, if you don't think about it, if you don't do the due diligence, because it is going to take work. And just because it's work, don't mean that it's not going to be worth it in the end. So your small beginnings, it may start off with a book, but it's going to be a big deal to somebody else. That was book number 1. So it may have a trickle effect. It may cause you to do other things. But whatever that foundation is, that's going to help you level up to something bigger, something greater. But you have that is going to. So had a little issue going. This is the podcast version of what I'm doing on Meaningful Messages. So we got another. It's on all the major distributions. It's on iTunes. I got Google Play. So a lot of, you know, major distributions in my life. And so even though I may not talk about it, I know that it was a part of on in my life. And so, you know, I help other people, you know, get out of certain situations. And currently, whatever, you know, whether it's speaking, whether I always get the thank yous in my inbox and the emails, but I know because I'm still getting the royalty checks. So I know my message is getting. So just know that you got to start somewhere and know that you're going to end somewhere. But what you do in the middle, what somebody has to say about you and their opinions of you, because the only validation that I'm looking for is when God says, well done, good and faithful servant. So I'm here to serve regardless. And I hope that something in this message help you just lay that good foundation. And it's going to, you never know who is watching and looking at you like, okay, if she can do it, if he can do it, I know I can do it too. And that could be just, it can catapult someone else's life in ways that you may not even realize. But I say all that to say, keep on. Don't allow people to put you in a box. We're supposed to evolve. We don't stay babies, you know, out of our mother's womb. Our thinking, it has to expand. So I can go on and on, but that's all I got today. Just keep going, because you never know who is watching you, who is inspired by you, who is just like looking at you like, wow, If they can do it, I can do it. So never despise the days of small beginnings. I was just going to be like, man, forget it. I don't have my home studio up like I want to. But I'm like, man, somebody need to hear this message. I know it's going to bless somebody. It's bigger than me. Let me move my ego, my pride, and get to this word, get to the message, and be a woman of integrity, because I said I was going live, and do just that. So anyway, off my soapbox. Y'all have an amazing day. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them. And I hope you all have an amazing day. You're welcome, Penny. I was on Instagram today, Facebook, YouTube, and Periscope. So we did it. Y'all have an amazing day. I love you all. If you want to try this NutriBurst Plus, or the NutriBurst, or those detox teas, inbox me. My link is in the bio. Y'all have an amazing Monday, amazing week. And I'll talk to y'all soon. I'll be back tomorrow, but it'll be in the morning. Have an amazing day. Talk to y'all soon. Love you.